Welcome to the Morning Track Power Hour. I'm Dr. Richard Scan. It's Dr. Michael Werman, Esquire. On today's show, we'll be getting into the recap of the NFL's Week 2. We'll be talking a little bit about the Kansas City Royals and their free fall, seemingly out of the playoffs at this point. And we'll also be previewing next week's NFL games and giving our locks of the week as usual, which have not been so locky as at this point in the season yet,
No.
but it's still things are bound to turn around at some point. We'll begin today's show with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think we talked last week briefly about them, the possibility of them being 0-2, having a couple really rough games at the beginning of their schedule this year. And that is the case. The Chiefs have lost their second game of the season already, which it took them 17 games to lose, 2 games last season. Record time they're getting to this year compared to last year. Mike, it was a rough couple games, tough schedule. A couple receivers are out. It's been not maybe going according to plan at all so far. Are you concerned now? Or are you throwing in the towel on the season already? What were your thoughts on where the Chiefs sit right now? No idea.
Well, I'm concerned, I guess. I'm not throwing in the towel, but I guess it seems like the Chiefs are losing games this year that they were winning last year, these sort of close games that could come down to a play or two. I actually feel a little bit more encouraged about their play against the Eagles. They should have won this game. If it hadn't been for the Kelce drop that turned into an interception, I think the Chiefs would have won this game. They had more yard. They outgained the Eagles. They did most things better than the Eagles did. The Eagles had the one advantage, that is that they could get every fourth down and one or third down and one with their tush push that we've talked about on this broadcast before, that we aren't really fans of that play. We don't like seeing it. But the Chiefs, I think, yeah, they should have won that game, I think. But and then it was against the Eagles, who were probably the best team in the league. So that's not feeling you're not feeling too bad. They played a lot better than they did against the Super Bowl, than the Super Bowl against the Eagles. Uh,
That's
and
true.
that,
That is
and they were
true.
without Rice, without Worthy. And Worthy was their was their only really playmaker in the Super Bowl. So,
Yep.
um, so it's hard to say. Mahomes is playing really. He's keeping the team in the games because it's been like pulling teeth. The offense. It's been so difficult to get anything accomplished that's not like Mahomes magic. And that's something we've been talking about the last couple of years, I think, for the Chiefs. Nothing is easy anymore for the offense, and you wonder, is it just the scheme? Is it Matt Nagy's influence? Is it Reed getting old and not really calling the plays well anymore? So it's hard to say, but yeah, I think Mahomes is, I think, at a level. He threw he did technically throw an interception, but he's at a level that is beyond, I think, what he was last year right now. He's been running the ball better. Um,
These are
and
hard runs too, and like
yeah,
initiating contact and
yeah,
running over people too occasionally,
yeah, he
which
looks
is
like Josh Allen out there, sort of. And
it's kind of fun to see, but you also don't want to see him taking this things because you don't know which one of them is going to cause an injury.
yeah,
This week in the NFL, there were a lot of quarterbacks that took injuries. You don't want that to be Mahomes in the category. But overall, like the defense looked much better in week 2 than they did in week 1.
that's true.
Rallying
Yeah,
to
we
the ball
did.
really quickly. They were, staying right on passes. Nobody was like wide open. So I don't. I mean, the team, like the eye test, the defense looked much improved in the second week. So hopefully, but that's usually one of the things the Chiefs kind of do is that the defense usually takes time
Takes a
to
little time to gel. Yeah. Uh,
come together and become their most efficient. Yeah, they weren't able to force any turnovers in this game, which maybe would have helped if they gotten something. But
yeah, they held the Eagles to not very many yards, and that was a big
yeah,
thing. Only 20 points, and then some of those points were giveaways, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, and so it
And
was,
it seems like we don't feel too bad about the loss. Like we kind of maybe already were sort of expecting that it was a real possibility and not it wasn't surprising.
yeah, yeah. The it wasn't unforeseen, I guess we could say. Um, and it was a, we do I thought even keeping it a close game was sort of a victory compared to what the Super Bowl was. Um, and um, yeah, it was just a it was a loss, but it was I think a I don't know if it was a moral victory or not, but it was like at least show that the Chiefs they aren't completely out, they aren't out of any game that they've been in this in in their own two. So they it was they came close, but they couldn't quite stop the team at the end from running the clock out. And so that's maybe that's the defense's fault, but it's also I think the offense for not scoring enough points or for I think it's a combination of the two, but um
Yeah. I had kind of thought about this during the Eagles game. I was wanted to see what your thought on this was too. I think it's the tush push itself that we dislike so much, or is it actually like that the Eagles offense they seem to be like designing plays to get to the scenario where they can use it rather than just using their dynamic offense that they have. They have great wide receivers. They have a mobile quarterback that can do multiple things. They have Saquon Barkley as a running back. It's not like they don't have anybody at these positions to get big gains, but they seem like they almost try to get to a 3rd and 1 scenario so that they can
yeah.
do the two like 2 times in a row if they need to, rather than just get more yards and not have to be in the scenario. This was what we saw 5 times in the game, six
Yeah,
times.
yeah, it happens all the time, and
Why?
it's hard to say. Like in the last time, it seemed like well, maybe that they even stripped the ball from Jalen Hurts. They came up with the ball, so who knows what happened? You can't see anything that happens in there, and then you don't know when the whistle gets blown. It's just random, and this momentum is stopped, and then they just kind of keep it going for a while, and then they all line up off sides, and it's
Well,
just a
apparently they're so tight to the line that when they even if they move early, the officials can't maybe even see that it happens.
yeah.
There were a couple times it looked like they jumped early,
Yeah.
but yeah, that that's annoying too, right? It's like
Yeah,
but they're already lined up incorrectly. So
I hope it gets outlawed next year because like I think there were 22 out of the 32 teams that voted against it. There need to be 24 out of 32
yeah.
vote against it.
Well, part of the problem is that the Bills also do that play, and
Mm,
the league's never gonna, get behind something that would take away something that the
what
Bills
Buffalo
want.
does, yeah.
I'm pretty far onto this pro Buffalo. Maybe it's a bit of a conspiracy theory type, but there's enough things that come up like this that it's like it seems like it's that there has to be some reality to it. How many rules have to be changed or specifically not changed that benefits Buffalo? That's what gets annoying.
Yeah, yeah, they're always it seems like they're somehow the darling child. Maybe because they lost those four Super Bowls and everybody's really rooting for Buffalo. Yeah.
So
Oh, I
we
couldn't hear you for a second. Your mic cut out for a second.
well anything else on the Chiefs game? Any other comments there, or should we talk about some other games in the
We can
league?
talk
And
about the
so
other games. Now there's not much left to talk about the Chiefs. I guess the problem is, the Chiefs don't have any receivers that they can, they have Hollywood Brown gets to short ones, and then finally there was a connection with Thornton,
yeah,
but it was too little too late,
Seem to
I
be
guess.
trying it though, which
They're
is
trying it, and maybe they're keeping the defenses honest. But yeah,
encouraging. Yeah.
it's like we said, it's just so difficult. Everything that they do, it can't. There's no easy plays, and it's all Mahomes carrying the team, and because Kelsey seems to be washed up or something, at least right now. He had a couple of catches, but then that drop that turned to the interception, that was huge, and that really cost them the game. Um, and
Man.
and then Noah Gray's been nowhere to be seen. Um, you
Yeah.
thought maybe he would kind of step up, but he hasn't. Uh, it's just been, yeah, I don't know. I guess we're still talking about it, but the Chiefs, but it's just
Well, it
hard to.
always seemed like in the past, and especially with like the Bieniemy offenses, like the team seemed to do best when they were in like a quick rhythm. Like they were, quick to the line. They didn't like stand in the, at the line waiting to snap. Like the pre-snap stuff seemed like it was all relatively quick. It was a lot of short passing, but there was like a rhythm to the offense, and now it seems like they if they come out and they run on first down, then it's a conservative series. If they come out and they pass on first down, and then it's super aggressive, and neither one of them are successful really. So is that it's like they don't seem to ever get into a rhythm unless Mahomes sort of just does whatever he has to do on his own. That seems to be what carries the team at this point. It's just him being able to run around and that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I just don't think there's any rhythm to it. And I don't know if
Yeah.
that's fully on Nagy or if just something needs to change or what. But really, I would have liked to have seen them, brought enemy back when he became available
Yeah, I would have too.
because the offense always seemed to be more dynamic. Not so much right now. Yeah, it's been like a 2 years plus 2 games sort of trend that we're under right now. It's back to the Matt Nagy time.
Yeah, I would say I would get rid of I would get rid of Nagy, and I don't know. It might even be time just to you do get a new type of offensive person in as somebody who could work with Reed. Um,
Um,
yeah, yeah. But let's talk about the other games a little bit. Going into our non-locks of the week.
yeah, neither of us picked on our lots of the week in the Chiefs game, so that was probably good because we would not have been happy with that result. Although we weren't happy with any of our results. Yes, another rough week for us with the locks of the week.
Yeah,
Uh,
you want me to start? You want to start? Want me to start with my lone win, or do you want to go through the losses, or should we end with my lone win as the high point of our week?
Maybe you want to finish with the win, I think, right?
Okay, so
So
why don't you get started then, Dr.
maybe
Stefano?
maybe I'll start because I didn't have any wins. So
Yeah.
let's see. My first pick was I had the over in the Buffalo New York Jets game at 45 and a half. Buffalo ended up putting up 30 points, so they held up their side of the bargain, but the Jets did not contribute much, only 10 points. So they ended up at 40 points. They needed another touchdown somewhere. Did not help that the Jets uh, quarterback ended up in concussion protocol. I think Justin Fields.
Hmm.
Now his next week is in jeopardy also, but he did play 3 quarters. I think he only had something like 20 something yards passing, so that's not very
That's
good.
not so good.
It does not help the over scenario, so that one failed. It was close, but not that close.
Yeah, that was one of the few games that didn't go over. This
Or
was
10 overs.
10 overs and only six unders, and of course I picked all six unders. I picked all 16 unders, and I don't know if it was 6 and 10 on the big board. So that was really poor showing for me.
We had two unders in our locks. They both failed,
They
and
both failed. Yeah.
over that also failed though. So we have not been so good at picking over unders so far this season.
No, I guess we'll transition to my under then.
Yeah.
So I had an under Jacksonville at Cincinnati under. I thought both those teams were underwhelming in their first games. But this game went way over. It was 58 points. The over under was 49 and a half, which I thought was pretty high. And especially was high the score because you know uh, we had a quarterback injury for the Bengals. And we had Jake Browning fill in for Joe Burrow for most of the game, and the Bengals, scored a lot of points with Browning, 31 to 27, and the Jacksonville Jaguars also scored a lot of points against that Cincinnati defense. They probably should have beaten Cincinnati that game, but it probably doesn't bode well for Cincinnati's future that Burrow is going to be out. He suffered a torn toe ligament, very severe, I guess, turf toe type of injury. He's going to be out for 3 months at least with surgery. But so you have to worry about the Bengals' future. But they did win the battle. If they lost, maybe this is a Pyrrhic victory for them. They won this game, but they're probably has set them up for failure down the road. But yeah, this was a game that was fairly high scoring from the beginning, kind of consistently stayed high scoring, and so I guess it was only over by 8.5 points. It wasn't over by a zillion points, but still it was comfortably over. Uh, and so the under 49 and a half failed. So that was my first unlock of the week.
It went over with under 12 minutes to go too, so it wasn't down to the wire or anything.
Yeah.
So, but still, we're not so happy with any money in general. But knowing that Burrow's out means one of the Chiefs' big competitors is going to have a much tougher time. We're okay with that, I think, right?
Yes.
Sort of okay with it. Maybe mixed feelings about it, but yes. Let's see. My second pick, uh, I had an under with the San Francisco New Orleans game. Uh, I had assumed that, San Francisco being out, Mac Jones taking over for Brock Purdy would not result in a lot of points. I thought San Francisco would probably win, but um, I didn't expect either team to score as many points as they did. It ended up being 26-21. So 47 points, which is 4.5 points more than the 42 and a half over under. I had the under, so yes, another failure.
Another failure. I don't know yeah. Um, what can we say about that game?
Come on, two not very good teams, I guess, but still able to score enough points.
Yes. What was
Make
what
me
was,
sad.
what was the total?
42 and a half. Like 26-21.
It's 26-21. Yeah, I got under on that game as well with we thought McCorkle wasn't gonna score very many points. I actually picked New Orleans to win that game outright. That didn't come through for me either, so it wasn't a great game on my part. I did pick them to they did they didn't even cover. They almost so I missed that game every which way on the big board. Uh, it was a close game, but not quite close enough for the win.
Well, I assume that if 49ers are going to win, that it would be like on the back of like Christian McCaffrey in the running game, not on Mac Jones's back, but because he was 26 of 39, 279, three touchdowns too.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess McCorkle plays well. I guess it's maybe it's the system. Again, it's a system thing out in San Francisco, maybe more than it is individual. Purdy maybe because I think it's better than Mac Jones. But is this if Mac Jones keeps playing well and Purdy's hurt, does Mac Jones challenge for the starting position? You probably don't because of all the money you're paying Purdy for that big long contract, but
They
it's
just
just
gave him a contract. I
yeah,
don't think
it's
Purdy probably he's not. I don't think he's at risk of being Wally Wally
well, he
Pipped.
pipped. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Probably not at risk.
Named for the Yankees first baseman who was beaten out by Lou Gehrig back in the, I guess, late teens, early 20s. I don't know when exactly that happened, but yeah, Wally Pipp. Uh, so um, my second unlock of the week was we went back to the Pittsburgh Steelers well, which I've gone down before, and I picked Pittsburgh minus 2.5 over Seattle. They lost that game outright by 31-17. They lost by 14 points. Uh, and basically they lost. Well, one reason they lost was because they decided not to recover a
A
kickoff
free
that went
kick.
into the end zone, and they just kind of let it stand there. And then Seattle just picked it up and scored a touchdown because they didn't really. I guess the Pittsburgh returner wasn't aware of the kickoff rules that if you don't touch the kickoff, well, it doesn't matter. The other team can still recover it even if it's in the end zone. So
Just like an onside kick, as long as it's
yeah,
in bounds, right?
yeah,
Not in the end
yeah,
zone.
yeah. It wasn't a touchback. He had to actually down it in the end zone. So yeah, that was one reason they lost. But they also would have lost, I guess, 24-17 without that. So they didn't cover either way. But I had thought Pittsburgh would be able to beat Seattle at home, but that of course did not happen. Pittsburgh has been really up and down, kind of crazy. Of course, I am betting on a game with Pittsburgh in it this week, but I'm not betting on Pittsburgh themselves. So we'll see. We'll talk about that when we get to this week's games in our week 3 preview. But yeah, Pittsburgh under uh, was underwhelming against Seattle and lost 31-17. Of course, that game also went over with because of that recovered um, kickoff in the end zone. That's what pushed it over. So I had an under in that on the big board as well. So I did really poorly. We'll get to the big board in a second. But what was your third unlock of the week, Dr. Scaff?
I was going to quickly say though too, we've each now taken Pittsburgh at minus 2.5, and we've both lost. Should we just write them off now for the season for making picks on them until they win us
Uh,
back? That's not so good. We both taken them at specifically 2.5.
2.5. Maybe we should at least find a different spread for them.
I think we both did this. We're like, oh, it's only a field goal. If they win, they're going to win by a field goal. First game they won, but not by a field goal, by two, right?
Hmm.
And then they lost. Yes, in the other games. That's not great. They're
Okay.
letting us down, Mike. That's what it
They're
is.
letting us down.
We should be personally upset with them, right? For them
Yeah,
disappointing us.
pointing us. Yeah. Well, I think betting on Aaron Rodgers is our problem anyway. So I think maybe it's a Rodgers issue more than a Steelers issue. He is tainted.
Maybe the Steelers' defense has not been very
No, that's
good. So
surprising. You'd think they'd be better. And I'm kind of betting on the defense this week. In our we'll predict that going forward, but
well,
um,
they're unlikely to give up another touchdown in that manner.
probably I would guess they might be the least likely team to give up another touchdown in that manner because it's happened to them already, and I'm sure they might give up a touchdown in some other sort of opposite stupid way at this point. But I don't know I don't know exactly what that would entail, but yeah.
Yeah. I guess my final disappointment for this week, in our loss of the week, maybe I shouldn't be betting on the Dallas Cowboys either, uh, Pittsburgh, but yeah, Dallas was a 5.5 point favorite at home against the New York Giants, New York Football Giants, as you like to say.
Mhm.
Uh, I kind of expected Russell Wilson to not put on a great performance, but he managed to throw for 450 yards
That was the most in
uh,
his career he threw for, I think, in that game.
against a Dallas defense that gave up Micah Parsons in the preseason. for a future trade. Uh, so the Giants and Cowboys ended up going to overtime. Dallas ended up kicking a field goal to win it, but they needed to score a touchdown for me to win my bet anyway, which they did not. So the Cowboys ended up winning in their division rival matchup, 40-37, falling short of the spread that was necessary for my pick. So I finished the week at 0-3.
0-3. At least I salvaged one for us. I finished 1-2, and that was betting on the Chargers. The Chargers -3 at the Las Vegas Raiders. They ended up winning that game 20-9. So covering, winning by 11. It also hit the under, which I was happy about. I was one of the few games I got right completely, all three. The over under, the money line, and the spread. I started. That was
And it was a lot.
it was one of my locks. Yeah. Um, so four.
Well,
Yeah. I I got, yeah. That was the quadrifecta, I guess. So yeah, that was so. I'm going to as a preview of our uh, week to come games. I'm going to ride the Chargers to victory again. I hope. We'll see what happens this week. But yeah, the Chargers have, it wasn't a fantastic game. It was a defensive kind of struggle most of the game, but the Chargers really, I guess, dominated against the Raiders enough to pull out the win without too much of a headache. So 20-9, they won again. That was one of those games where it wasn't exactly a home. The Raiders don't really have a home field advantage, and this is one of the few games that the Chargers maybe have some road traveling fans at the game too. So it's yeah, it was a I don't know. I wish they were all that easy. But they that's only that's maybe that's maybe finding one that's easy is at least I got one. So I'm now 2-4 on the season. Dr. Scaff, you are 1-5
yeah,
on the season with our
rough,
locks this
rough stuff.
week. Rough starts for both of us. So if you had picked against if you were picking against us, just going with our locks of the week and just going against them, you would be sitting pretty right now.
So the line they used at the end of the show about what's your interest conflict with ours, uh, actually that's a more beneficial strategy this year.
Yeah, you'd be up 600, but you'd be 9-3, up 600.
Yeah, pretty good. So maybe we need to set around just a little bit for the sidewalks.
We need to go to could go the Costanza route and do pick the opposite of what
Exactly.
we normally would.
Eh,
But I think we outsmart ourselves and we'll just pick the wrong one no matter what. So um,
Maybe in our competition against each other, we are just trying to set the other one up so that we can bet against in real life our opponent.
oh yeah,
And so I'm just betting against you when I go to the actual sports
when
book.
you go to the casino,
I'll
yeah,
use my own will bet against your picks.
I see.
Maybe that's what we're doing here.
Maybe. Yeah, sure. Well, yeah. So
Where's that been?
that was this week. Let's leave that week behind. I think it's not. Oh well, I guess we got to talk about the big board, which was even worse. I lost over $1,000 this week in the big board because I only got 6 out of 16 correct on the spread, 6 out of 16 correct on the over under because they all mostly went over this week, and I couldn't make up for it on the money line either. I lost a little bit of money on the money line, so I lost uh, $1,046, which makes me almost $660 under for the first 2 weeks. You also lost money this week for the second week in a row, but you're beating me. You've lost less money than I have.
Yeah, small losses. I did a little bit better on the money line. I had 12 and 16 picks. And I was an even 8-8 on my over unders. But the VIG got me there, so I ended up losing $60 on the just to split, even up. wins and losses anyway on the over unders, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so I ended up down $244 on the week, down just under $400 for the year. You're at minus 660. So yeah, we've got room to improve. But yeah, early on in the season, the games are more unpredictable. I think we both kind of talked about this last week that the week two matchups were not necessarily ideal for like anything that we learned in week one. It seemed like teams that performed well had much tougher opponents in week two, and teams that didn't look good had much weaker opponents in week two. So it was maybe it ended up being that week two was actually a little bit more randomized than what the betting people would appreciate
Yeah,
anyway.
because you have that kind of false information almost from week one. You think, oh, this is gonna carry me forward now. We know what happened. We have a week in our pockets. We know
You
what's
know
gonna
who's good, you
happen.
know who's bad, but
Yeah. But yeah, week two is just as unpredictable as week one. And maybe you're also burdened by having that first week of information that makes it even harder to predict. So you need to, I think it's a small sample size that you were working from. So we need the larger sample size. So we need to go a few more weeks, I think, before we can start predicting things in a real good way. But we'll see what
well,
happens.
being able to make decisions saying like this team is not good,
Yeah.
right? Do not
It's
bet on them to win games, right?
yeah.
We're not quite there
No.
yet. And yeah,
So
and now the injuries have started coming in. So now it becomes a little bit more difficult to make predictions, maybe even for this week three coming up, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
yeah. Well, speaking of not quite there, should we talk about the Royals and their floundering, I guess we could say, as the season is coming to a rapid end. I think there are only 11 more games left, or 10 more games now left in the season for the Royals. They lost,
11, I think. Yeah. They were 75-75, and they were, what,
now
down
they're
10.
75 and 76, so 11 games left.
They
So
lost 12-5 tonight.
they
Yes.
lost 12 to 5 against the Seattle Mariners, who have gone on a 10 and 0 run lately. So they have been on a tear. Basically, the Royals needed to go 10 and 0 to try to get into the playoffs. And basically, they'll probably have to win out just about to make the playoffs. And hopefully, one of the other teams will not will stumble coming to an end. So it's been, a lot of. Yeah, a lot of struggle. Tonight, we have one bright spot in Carter Jensen, who had two home runs and a double in tonight's loss. So he had uh, three hits, three RBIs, three runs scored, two home runs. So yeah, he's been really solid. He's um, maybe catcher of the future. It seems right now. So maybe trading Freddie Fermin, what that was the reason they traded him, and so Jensen can be the backup or spot catcher, or at least maybe give Salvi a break going forward and put Salvi at DH mostly next year. Because it
Maybe
depends on how he
occasionally
calls the
first.
game and stuff. I don't know if he's a great game manager at this point yet, but we'll see going forward. But yeah, he's local boy makes good. But yeah, the Royals, they're 75 and 76 right now. They are uh how many games? They're 7 games out of the last wild card spot. So yeah, they basically have to win out and hope the Astros uh
And need help,
or the
right?
Red
Like,
Sox don't play particularly well going forward.
yeah, it's been rough. This last week's been. We talked about them needing to win 12 to 14 games, I think, and then they I
Yeah.
think lost immediately like 5 of 6. So that's again,
Mhm.
in that stretch of games where they were playing a little bit tougher opponents and they did not step up to the competition level at all. So that was yes, they've very quickly played themselves out of the playoff race.
Yeah.
A
And
couple of those games were again with like weird, pitching usage. Like 2 days in a row, they used like Taylor Clark in the same scenario that he did. He didn't do well in on Saturday, and then they used him in the exact same scenario on Sunday, and he also did not do well. So it's like,
no,
you not learn anything, Mike. They don't learn.
they never learn. Oh well, that's the Royals for you. Let's leave the Royals behind and move. Let's just move on to week three. Hopefully, week three will be better for us than week two, and hopefully, it will be better for us. I mean, let's see what the Royals will do next week. We'll still have. I guess we'll still talk about them next week. But yeah, it looks like the playoff field is shaping up, and the Royals are look like they're going to be sitting at home come October. But just like the rest of them.
There's still a couple of teams fighting for those last few wildcard spots. I think the last couple of weeks are going to be interesting for jockeying for position. Because
Yeah,
a good chance somebody's going to, lose a spot and somebody's going to, take it.
Cleveland's only 2.5 out. Maybe Cleveland is, and they're on a tear, so maybe they could pull it out. But and Houston's gotten some injuries, and you don't know what Boston's going to do. But the Royals, if they were at least in spitting, they're too far out. So they
It's
need to win. They need to win out, and so that's yeah, that's basically all that they can hope for. So if they lose, if they, so if they, I guess if they win the next five or six, maybe we can get back into it and see. But yeah, it'll take a miracle at this point. I think they're down to less than 0.1% chance of making the playoffs at this point. There's
those
still says 0.2%, which seems high to me, but
does seem high.
I guess 2 out of 1,000 isn't that so if they win out, that's if they flip the coin and it lands heads 11 straight times, they have a possibility.
Yeah. Happen.
It can happen. Sure, it'll happen. Sure, it
I don't
can.
think it's going to happen, Mike.
I don't think so either. I just hope they finish over the 82.5 win total. Was it 82.5 or 81? It was 82.5, I think.
Was it only that? Oh, yeah, I have my list here. So 82 and a half, you're right. Yeah.
They need to be 83 and 79. That's not even looking so good. You're looking better on the under right now.
Yeah. They need to go, what, 8-3 to finish the season? The
Yeah.
final? Yeah. Not looking great for that either, really. Like,
No, no.
looking like it's going to be maybe an 80 and 82, something in that area. If
Right
we're
now. Yeah.
playing okay, even, right? So like, it could be
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah. Um, they've had a lot of injuries in the pitching staff, and that's probably been the reason. But hopefully, we'll see. There's always next year, and we'll see what happens. But let's talk about next week when we talk about the NFL. The Chiefs desperately need a win, and I believe they've never won against the Giants at New York. I believe that's a case. They've never won in New York against
Really?
the
Against the
Giants.
Giants? They probably wouldn't play the Giants
Or at
very
least not
often.
at least not at MetLife Stadium and maybe the Meadowlands before that. Um,
Yeah. They are 4-11 against the Giants all time, according to StatMuse.
okay. Yeah, they won. Yeah, they won at the Chiefs, at Kansas City, at Kansas City. They've only won at home. They've never won in New York.
That's crazy.
Yeah, would you have guessed that?
No, uh, it does not change my pick for today, though, Mike.
Yeah, I think they'll win as well. They need to. I guess the Giants are 0-2 and the Chiefs are 0-2, but it's going to be Sunday Night Football, the big game on NBC, Sunday Night Football game of the week. But we'll see if the Chiefs can come through and win their first game of the year in New York against Russell Wilson. It looks like Russell Wilson has been, because of his big week last week against the um, Cowboys. He's holding off Jackson Dart still for the starting pos- for the starting position. So, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a desperation game for both teams. But I don't know. I think, of course, the Chiefs' expectations coming into the season was much higher than the Giants' expectations. So we'll see what Mahomes can do in New York City against the G-Men at MetLife Stadium. Um, I don't know if he's played. I don't know if Mahomes has played any of the games against the Giants at MetLife, though. But
It
he
looks
did
like the
win against
most
the Jets at MetLife last year.
the yeah, the last time they played in New York was in 2017.
And that was still a
That would have
Alex Smith team.
been before. So yeah, they lost that game 12-9 in overtime.
Yeah. Mahomes has only played once, and he has a 1-0 record against the Giants.
Yeah, a 2017 win in Kansas City, 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they've only played them twice. The Giants, twice only since 2013,
Hmm.
since the end of the 2013 season. So yeah, that's what 11 seasons and only facing them even twice.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, they just don't play the Giants all the time.
No, because they played once every 4 years with the way the divisions line up, and the Giants haven't been very good, so the Chiefs are playing the Eagles multiple times rather than the Giants, because the Eagles have been first place teams like the Chiefs have been first place. So, um, but yeah, the Chiefs play the NFC East. They'll play the Cowboys later. They'll play the Commanders later in the season as well. I think they play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving,
Hmm.
so that'll be a big.
Yeah,
But yeah, so hopefully the Chiefs will come through. Do you predict a Chiefs victory, Dr. Scaff?
yeah, enough so that I'm taking it as a lock, which is a smooth thing.
Ooh,
Maybe it's a bit risky to say that as one of my locks, because I've not been very good on locks so far this year. But I do have them at the Chiefs minus 5.5 at the Giants. The Chiefs are going to want to start 0-3, so they should be going at this game, win it, not play it close, but to actually win it. So I would hope that they would take this game by at least a touchdown. I
yeah.
don't expect him to have the same kind of game against the Chiefs defense as he had against Pittsburgh's defense. It seems like maybe Pittsburgh maybe a little porous defensively. So we'll see how that plays out, I guess, too. I got the Chiefs minus 5.
Chiefs minus 5.5. I hope that plays out that way. I probably will bet on the Chiefs because I'm a homer. But yeah, that would be ideal for the Chiefs to win and win comfortably. That would be a nice change of pace and win in New York, something they've never done against the G-Men. So yeah, so Chiefs minus 5.5 is your first lock of the week, Dr. Scaff. Guess we'll go to my first lock of the week. Um, let's I only did one spread this week as my locks. I've done two unders and one spread. So I guess I'll do the spread first. Since I mentioned kind of previewing, I was going to ride the Chargers again this week. The Chargers are hosting the Denver Broncos. They're 2.5 point home favorites in SoFi Stadium against Denver. Again, probably a lot of Denver fans will travel to Los Angeles to watch the game, but it's still technically a home game for the Chargers. It's not going to be in the altitude. I think the Chargers are a better team than Denver. Denver's probably going to want to going to come in hard because of their loss against Indianapolis on that last second field goal this week. But I think the Chargers will win. I think they're a better team than the Broncos. And if they're favored by 2.5, I like the 2.5. So I think if they win by a field goal, I get that. So That's why I'm going with the Chargers minus 2.5.
The Chargers have, yeah, first 3 weeks, all conference, all division matchups
Yeah,
even.
that would. Yeah,
So you have the Chargers at 3-0, all division wins. That's
yeah, yeah. They're really taking charge of the division. It looks like, no pun intended. Um, but
you're not upset about it. It was intended, but you're okay with
yeah,
it. It's fine, right?
yeah. So
Hmm.
that's my first block of the week. The Chargers minus 2.5 against Denver. What is your second block of the week, Dr. Scaff?
I'm going with all road teams this week on the spread. My second pick, going with Houston as an underdog at +1.5 at Jacksonville. Uh, Houston was kind of it's a game in the last matchup, so they seem like they're playing pretty well enough to be decent. And Jacksonville has looked just sort of okay, I think. Uh, they weren't able to overcome Cincinnati without Burrow, so I don't think that they're playing quite the level that they're expecting. So I kind of think that Houston will be able to come out ahead of this one and get a road win. So we've got Houston at +1.5. That's like a pick.
Yeah, Houston needs a win. I think they're probably the second most desperate 0-2 team. Probably they have the other after the Chiefs probably had the highest expectations of any other 0-2 team. I think people thought probably they're the class of that NFC of the AFC South, though they're in last place now in the AFC South. They just tied with the Titans, but with the Colts pulling ahead at 2-0, and then if the Jaguars are able to be 2-1 and the Texans 0-3, that would really put them behind the eight ball moving forward. So yeah, the Texans really need Houston really needs to win this game. So it's a it's a must. It's an early must win game for Houston, I think. And yeah, I think Houston's a better team than Jacksonville is. So I I like that pick as well.
They're 0-2, but they're only -6 on the season, so that's tough.
Yeah, they've lost two close games. Yeah.
How
Um,
about your next pick, Mike?
Well, I mentioned a little earlier that I was going to bet on a game involving Pittsburgh as well. And so I'm going Pittsburgh against New England at New England. I'm going under 44.5 as my second lock of the week. I don't believe neither team will score that many points. I think neither offense is that great. I think Pittsburgh's defense is bound, I think, at this point as well to turn in a better performance. So I like that game to be something like 20 to 17. So be under. I like Pittsburgh to win probably, but I like the under a little better in that game. So it's under 44.5. Hopefully it'll be at least at 24-20 or something like that would be the highest I could stomach. Um, and Be under 44.5 is what I'm looking for. So Pittsburgh. Something like 2017, I think would be the final score of that game. So that's under enough. So I'm gonna stick with the under on that one. Of course, I'm going all unders on my big board as well. Again, I think the unders are bound to rebound. So
Yeah, it's heavily skewed one way week one. Turns out to be skewed a little bit less the other way week two. So I mean, it's probably going to go somewhere in the middle here for week.
yeah, we'll see.
Some kind
Uh,
of mean reversion, isn't that what you kind of expect mathematically, right?
yeah,
No guarantees.
no guarantees. How about what is your guarantee for your second, or is it your third? No, we're on your third block of the week.
Third lock already.
Yeah.
Uh, third pick. I'm going picking against another 0-2. I think is going to remain without a win in the Carolina Panthers. Uh, they've got a matchup with the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta's yeah, at -4.5. They played a pretty tight game against Tampa this last week. I think they should be able to win, and maybe they can win by maybe a touchdown or so. So yeah, I've got Atlanta at -4.5. Right.
Yeah. I don't think I think Atlanta's been playing better this season than Carolina has certainly so far, and it's not like it's a long trip from Atlanta to Charlotte, so it's not like
Yeah,
really it's not gonna I don't think a huge home field advantage for the Panthers. So and yeah, with Bryce Young they've been playing pretty poorly so far. So but you never know. It's a division matchup. You never know what's going to happen. But I like that. I would probably lean Atlanta in that game as well. Um, so I don't mind that pick at all. Um, so
like that
we'll
looked like they could have beaten Tampa, and
yeah.
that's what it makes it look like. They should be good enough to hang with that higher level. Then they should be able to beat weaker team.
Mhm.
But that doesn't, because week to week it doesn't mean
Yeah, you don't want to
anything. You
rely
don't really
necessarily
know.
on Michael Penix on the road, but
Yeah,
uh,
but maybe he's learning something. Maybe he's taking a step forward. We'll see.
yeah. Speaking of,
Hopefully he's learning something week to week, right?
yeah, hopefully you'll learn something from week to week. I guess speaking of teams you don't want to rely on the road right now, or the Miami Dolphins. So my third lock of the week is actually is a bet on the Thursday night game, which is a little unusual. I don't usually want to bet on the Thursday night game because it's so unpredictable. But I'm not betting on the spread. Miami they're 11.5 point underdogs right now against Buffalo on the spread, but I'm going to pick under 49.5 as the total on the game. I think this is a game that Buffalo might win, 35-7 or something like that. I think they could blow out Miami, but hopefully they don't score enough points that it tips the over. I think hopefully Miami scores very few, and if it's a one-sided game, Buffalo doesn't score 50 points. But 31-7, 35-7, something like that. Hopefully, if it ends up being lopsided, or if it ends up being close, maybe it's a 20, uh, you know, 24-17 type of game rather than a 24 type of game. So I like the under. Defenses I think tend to do better on Thursday nights than offenses, and I think Buffalo's offense will probably do fine. But I'm gonna uh, say that Miami's not going to score a lot of points, and I think if Miami doesn't score a lot of points, then I think it's going to be under.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks, Thursday night games were both under, so maybe there is a trend developing there for the season. And so
Yeah,
yeah, there weren't a whole lot of unders that hit this
no.
week in week two, but I think wasn't. So
Well, any other games on the week three schedule that look interesting to you that we haven't talked about, Dr. Scaff?
let's see what we thought. With there were a couple games in between sort of injured quarterbacks at Cincinnati, Minnesota. That was gonna be a tough one to pick, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like that game because yeah, it's Jake Browning against probably Carson Wentz, and Browning I think is maybe the more reliable backup at this point because Wentz has only been in Minnesota a couple of weeks. So he doesn't. I don't know what he knows about the offense at this point. So, but
Yeah.
maybe a chance for Wentz to take over, and become the starter. Maybe because McCarthy, he hadn't shown a whole lot, and now he's injured for a little bit. This might be again. It might be a little bit of a quarterback controversy if Wentz plays well. Again, McCarthy's the quarterback of the future, but maybe again the Vikings want to go to the playoffs this season. So who knows who they're gonna go with, um, but yeah, it's gonna be tough to predict. Um, there's a couple of games that I think are good games. I don't think the Cincinnati Minnesota isn't necessarily a good game. I think the Rams at the Eagles is probably going to be a pretty good game as well. That's a matchup I think also of 2-0
Mhm.
teams. And I like um I like the Eagles probably to win that game, but the Rams I think will keep it a little bit close. Although the Rams haven't really played great teams in their 2-0 victory. They played who did the Rams play? They played in week two. They played the Titans, and then in week one, they played. I guess they played Houston, so Houston's not a bad team, but they're 0-2. They played two 0-2 teams so far, though.
Right.
At the Rams, and now they're playing a 2-0 team at Philadelphia. Uh, I think it's going to be tough for the Rams to come out on top of that game, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's a matchup between 2-0 teams. There's another matchup between 2-0 teams in the NFC as well. That's San Francisco against the Arizona Cardinals, both of whom are a little bit surprising to be 2-0 for different reasons. I think the
Yeah.
Cardinals, because we don't think the Cardinals are going to be that great, and also with the injuries for San Francisco to come out 2-0 is probably pretty good. So, who do you like in that game? The Cardinals or the 49ers. It's at San Francisco. 49ers are favored by 1.5. If you had to pick a pick,
Yeah.
now what would you pick?
Before week two, I would have, not really thought that San Francisco had much of a chance because, Purdy's been pretty solid. But Mac Jones actually played quite well in week two. So maybe it's going to
Michael
be another close
McCorkle,
game.
Mac
McCord.
Jones.
Mac Jones, yes. Yeah, I could see that game being pretty close again. But yeah, I don't. It seems, Arizona tends to start well, but not finish strong. Has been their sort of
Hmm.
history over the last several years, and it is still early. Maybe Arizona's gonna have a shot on this one. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I'm gonna pick that one yet. I think I'm leaning towards Arizona a little bit, but not very strongly at this point.
Yeah, I don't know either. I
I
guess we
would
don't have to
consider it
pick
more
that
of
one
a
right
lock.
now. Yeah. Yeah. The Detroit-Baltimore game, I think, is also an interesting game. Detroit had a bad first week, but had a solid second week against the Bears. Baltimore, they're both 1-1 teams, but they're two of the Monday night. They're two of the most exciting teams in the league, and I think two of the teams that a lot of people predicted as potential Super Bowl contenders.
Mhm.
Both of them lost in week one, now in the each one in week two. Do you like Detroit? Who do you think is going to have the upper hand in Baltimore, Detroit or the Ravens?
Well, I mean, it's in Baltimore though, so it's kind of hard to pick against Baltimore. And yeah, Detroit's performance in week one didn't make them look super secure in general. Uh, but yeah, that's gonna be an interesting matchup. But I kind of expect Baltimore at home. I think is who I would go with at least right now, unless we know something else that happens like in the next couple of days before the game starts. I'm gonna end up betting on
Yeah,
Baltimore. But
Baltimore's favored by 5.5 in that game.
it's a little bit bigger of a spread than I like for that though. So
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking I might end up going with Detroit with that spread. They might keep a close game, keep one by a field goal or something like that. So five
yeah,
and a half's a lot of points. Um,
a hedge type bet though, right? So
yeah, sort of a hedge. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It can be. Yeah, you just think it's going to be close, but Baltimore's going to come out because they're a home team sort of scenario, or
Hmm.
it's either way, you're not likely to lose all of your both bets, right? If you're
Yeah.
doing that, you're giving yourself two chances to win one of
Yeah. Or what chances to
them.
blow both of them? Yeah. Um, yeah,
Do you think that was going to be a shootout though? Because like Baltimore's been playing relatively high scoring games.
yeah, Baltimore scores a lot of points. I don't know. It's 51 and a half is over under. So I don't know. Since I'm going blanket unders, I'm just gonna go under on it. So I don't want to
Does
think
that
about
does
it.
that one make you consider at least breaking your all unders? Maybe go all unders, but Monday night game being
Sometimes that does things like that. I would also think of just going all overs this week just to mix
yeah.
things up. But I'm gonna go all unders again. And this we'll see how it turns out. And then if it ends up being poor again, maybe I'll think about devoting time to each and every game, looking at the over under. But yeah, I feel like it's a fool's errand in some ways, and I think the unders tend to come through a little bit more often than the overs. So I'm just going to go all unders and try to and try to do that. But
Well, you don't want to play that game where you pick the right number of unders, but still somehow get them all
yeah,
wrong,
I
right? If
could
you
do that. Yeah, pick 8 and 8.
no, well, there were eight overs, eight unders, but I was over 16. So
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
it's a possibility.
Then you need the George Costanza scenario.
Yes, the opposites.
Take just actually put down the opposite. Flip them all. Like make all your picks today, and then flip them all like on decision when it's actually like time to submit your final picks,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. That way you've declared them that you can then completely reverse your decisions. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what I'll do, but we'll see. We'll see how this week turns out, and so we have that to look forward to. Anything else you want to talk about this week, or should we wrap up this week's episode of the Morning Trek Power Hour with a flourish?
Yeah. I think that got through everything we were planning on talking about. So yeah, I think we're
Yeah, we didn't go on off on our one of our patented tangents this week, but there's still plenty of time for that later in the season and next week we'll see if anything uh, tickles our fancy um, next week. But yeah, we have more to talk about next week coming up. We'll have week 3 in review and week 4 preview. We'll also talk a little bit more about the Royals and their likely by this week time next week they're probably we would guess probably out of it. But unless they who knows
let's
they
say
can
win the sixth game or
rattle off
whatever.
a
Yeah.
few wins in a row. Maybe they can be right back in it in the thick of things. Um, we'll see what happens. But that's what we'll preview next week. Uh, talk about Major League Baseball, and then also talking about week 3 and week 4 of the NFL season. Hopefully, we'll be also talking about a Chiefs win next week against those uh, New York Football Giants. So as always, I am Dr. Andrew. I am not Dr. Andrew Scott. I am Dr. Michael Irvin. I was a little confused there. Let me start over.
I thought my identity had been stolen there for a moment.
I no, I am Dr. Michael Orman. He is Dr. Andrew Scaff. We are the Morning Trek Power Hour. Please like and or subscribe to our YouTube channel available on YouTube and or our podcast, which is available on many different podcast delivery platforms, including the one you use. Um, so we have all that stuff looking forward to next week. We also wish you all as viewers and listeners the best of luck this week in your making your bets. If you're making your bets this weekend about the NFL games, as long as your interests do not conflict with ours, we wish you the best of luck. We don't want you just piggybacking off us and saying we're going to pick whatever those idiots on the One Trip Power Hour pick. We'll just pick the opposite and clean up. If you do that, I guess you owe us some of that money because you're taking
Yeah.
advantage of our picks. Uh, it's just as difficult to miss on all the picks as it is to get all the picks right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So
So
far, we've been a near sure thing
yeah,
for the neg style betters, right?
yeah, yeah. We have that going for us
Yes.
next week. So, but anyway, all kidding aside, we wish you the best of luck this week in making your bets, uh, and we also wish you a good day.